Hey Natya, thank you so much for your time. Big congrats on 2 to 1. I love how fun the film is. It's got that sense of adventure almost to it. Talk to us about that and what made you want to write this story.
This is a story that's a true story. It's a true story. So, like when in the 19th, the East Germany and West Germany came together, the money had to be exchanged from the East Germans, and they didn't know where to put it, and they put it in a long, long tunnel, and just thought, okay, that's okay, yeah. Uh, and as I read it in a book, in an old book, I just read one sentence that they did it, like they put the whole money from the East Germany in this tunnel. I thought, what? This is cinema.
How much of your own personal experiences, made it into the movie, if any?
I have a lot of things and feelings because we always had to travel through East Germany. And that gave me as a child really fear and whatever, because they were standing there. It was real hard for me. But I always had a heart for the East German people. I don't know why. These working class people, very to the ground, and with this humor coming around the corner, maybe a little English. Yes. And so, yeah. It's the second film I'm doing about East Germany. So it's like really, I have a heart for them.
Yeah, I love that. As you said, these bunkers, these places just, full of cash. And also that's what happens in this film. What would you do in that situation? You walk into a bunker full of cash. You've only got, so many days to spend it. What are you spending it on? What's the first thing that you're doing that to?
I think I would buy the fifth piano. I don't know. I just bought another one because it's like, I don't know, I'm crazy with pianos. But it's no, everyone has dreams. But if you with that much money, it was very funny also for the team. If the team came into the set, they were all like, "What?" Because they didn't do it digital, but we were printing the notes. So we printed 1.3 million notes, put them in it, and everyone was like immediately like a child and wanted to jump in and like do it like this. And it's you get childhood feelings in that. So immediately everyone, we really had to keep the team out of the set, like no one is going here. It was very funny.
That fifth piano is an investment. Just like people buying these Pokemon cards now, it's an investment for the future. So,
Wow.
maybe look into a sixth piano. Add to the collection.
Yeah.
You capture so well at that feeling of community, and there's that interesting dynamic between Sandra, Max, and Ronald's character. Did it make your job easier to create that chemistry because you guys have worked together before in various different projects?
If you cast a project, you always start in the middle. So I took these three, and I began with Ronald and Max because I know they did films together and had a chemistry. And all of them, the whole cast is rooted and born in East Germany. So if I would have made something totally different and didn't catch the emotion at that time, the true emotion, they would kick my ass. So they are all, and then I thought, who can connect to them? And I thought, oh, Sandra would be a dream, because she's a big star here in Germany. And there's just, I tried, and I sent her the script and told her, these are the guys I'm playing with. And she was immediately with it. So, and then you try to cast the crowd around. And it was really amazing. Everyone said yes. Good script helps. I always say, like actors have an instinct for good scripts and good films, so they wouldn't jumped on it all if it was bad. So they had an instinct. And we had a big fun all together shooting this film. It was really not only in the film, a summer film, but also for us. We had a good time. Yeah.
Did you guys have that sense of community as well, when you were making this project?
Community is all the filmmaking community. I don't know if you know, but I started my film career very young when I was 13. And I thought, oh, this is family, great. We had 84 shooting days. And I thought, wonderful, I have found my family. And then the last shooting day, and everyone was running away, So this is really just a community on time, and you have to learn that. It's real heartbreaking, actually, if everyone departs again to the next project.
You mentioned, of course, Sandra Hüller. What did she bring to her character that maybe surprised you?
Sandra itself, she surprises me all the time. It's like, if you see Sandra like walking down the street, you might don't think she is a very special woman, because she's very normal as a person. But if you put the camera in front of her, and I'm sitting there with my two video things, it's like, what? It jumps at you, her presence and her subtle, small playing and open up her heart. Acting is really open up your soul, and she's so precise and so she's very intelligent, also mathematical, but also in the community sense. She feels every actor and she's very open when she acts. And actually, with Sandra, I hadn't to do a lot. I was just the one who was like, oh yes, it's wonderful. Just for safety, can we do another one? It was always, I don't know. Yeah. So it's a gift to work with her. It's a gift. Yeah.
So there's a great line in the movie, legal or illegal. These
yeah.
That's a question of perspective.
Yeah.
I found that rings so true and is, I suppose, scary when you look at political leaders in politics today. Was that something really at the forefront of your mind?
Like the political situation at the moment is very special, I think. I haven't had that in my life, and I don't know if anyone for a long time, So it's really tough to see that, but that's something else, But what is always on the top, and I try to make films for universal, so that you can see it in Japan too, or in England, and so the human source and the human root in this film is also money and justice. Who does the money belong to? Who's the one who owns this? This is a question you can pose, I think, always, and at the moment very much, And as you might see, or if you look carefully at the film, I choose music not out of the 80s and 90s, but music from today, because I think this film is not only about the 90s, it's about today and our dreams of good and bad, And in that time, it was a time of freedom, because the old law didn't work anymore and the new law wasn't there yet. So it was a time, you could change the rules for yourself a little, and that's what's really a time of wonderful things also happened. And I choose to jump in that,
Just one final question. Natja, what are you working on at the moment that you can share with us? Are you going to be writing, directing again in the near future?
Yeah, I'm writing at the moment. Yeah, sure. I'm always writing, because you have to always have some projects, because it takes so long to finance a film. If I would be a painter, it would be nice. I just need something to paint. So I write a script, and then I have to wait but while waiting, I'm writing the next. So that's always like you point one on the other. And I wrote it down here. If you would ask Steven Spielberg for that, he would say, I have several projects in various stages of development. And that's true. That's true. If I would tell you what I'm writing in a moment, yeah, you would say, wonderful, when can I see it? And I would have to say in 8 years. Yeah, so that's the truth. And you would be very frustrated because you think, what is the wonderful story? I can't see it tomorrow, you know? So it's to talk about the actual work you're in as a filmmaker is always, I go with Steven Spielberg.
Your next project's helping you get your next piano, you could say.
Yeah, I would love to. It's crazy. I just bought one. That's crazy.
Well, Natja, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Best of luck with the film's release.
Thank you for the talk, and go to the cinema, 2nd of May.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey, you guys!
Hey!